Alright guys, in today's video we have some more PlayStation related news and info to go over here, and the first thing we are going to be talking about is yet another supposed insider coming out here and talking about the PlayStation 5 outperforming the next generation Xbox, which is always interesting, and I know that a lot of you are very much interested in keeping up with all of the different rumors regarding the PlayStation 5. Whether or not they end up being true, none of us will know, but it is interesting to follow this nonetheless. And what's also interesting is they go on to say that this could end up changing because it's based on dev kits, and that the dev kits will be updated, or they have been updated, and they're not going to know until sometime in the summer. So we're going to discuss that. We are also going to be discussing how apparently Microsoft tried to buy and acquire Platinum Games, but it didn't actually go through, and that Microsoft was not the only company that was trying to acquire Platinum Games, which is extremely interesting, especially when you consider Scalebound. And then finally, we're going to mention how Sony is once again trademarking the PS5, but this time in multiple countries, not just Switzerland, also in the US and UK and others. And this is important to highlight because while many of you are getting very much impatient with Sony, this is yet further clear actual indication that they will in fact be talking about the PlayStation 5 relatively soon. We may not have an exact date, but it's going to happen. Now, before going any further, if you could do me a big favor and hit the like button. Not only does it really help the videos out tremendously, but it is the easiest way for you guys to let me know you do enjoy the content and you want more of it. And also hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't already done that. But let's start here with the PS5 Performance. It says the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series have yet to be detailed in full, but right now Sony's console is still offering better performance compared to Microsoft's, according to an online report. On the NeoGAF forums, a verified industry professional going by the name of BGS revealed that as of January, the PlayStation 5 is still offering better performance than the Xbox Series. This may have changed with the latest dev kits, but he has no way of knowing right now, as he will get access to them later this year. At the beginning of the year, PlayStation 5 was still the one that offered the best performance. I don't know if that has changed with the dev kits. I don't have access to that information at this time, and personally I think that theoretically I won't have physical access until early summer for my part. Despite the difference, the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series will not be all that different from one another. According to BGS, the differences will be very small and most players will not notice them. The games will make all the difference. This generation will not be the generation of the visual difference that makes you decide what to buy. It will be the generation of games. Yes, one will be faster than the other, but you will not notice it in practice. One will load the screen in 10 seconds and the other in 7 seconds. One will have a better sound than the other. One will run games at 60 FPS and the other will too. What will really matter will be the quality that development studios can achieve with their time and budget. And then it also adds on here that, interestingly, BGS also is suggesting that you should pay attention to the PlayStation VR 2. Unfortunately, he did not add more to the matter. So I just thought that that was interesting. If this person is to be believed, it seems like Sony is going to be doing some very interesting things with the next version of PSVR. But I find this very interesting because I'm sure that I am not the only one noticing that this is just a very common theme that is going, it's something that's not going away. And I've always been of the mindset, and if you don't believe me, you can go back and check my past content. I've always been of the mindset, and this is always what I predicted, is that when it comes to the next generation PlayStation and Xbox, they're both going to be very, very similar to one another. And the big thing that people are going to be looking for in general is just how big of a leap forward it's going to be for not just one or the other, but just games in general. And I've always expected that when these consoles come out, the difference will truly be negligible. Like, they're both going to have really good looking, really well performing games, and that's just the way it's going to be. I don't think that either console is going to have some massive edge over the other. And to be honest, if you look on both sides of the coin, if you talk to certain Xbox fans and you talk to certain PlayStation fans, both will tell you that one is definitely going to stomp the other in terms of specifications and performance. But everything we're hearing from insiders is that, well, there's two main things. First of all, the PS5 is actually edging out the Xbox Series. and that it really doesn't matter because they're both going to be so similar that you're really not going to notice. And I have also been of the mindset, and I do agree with what this BGS individual is saying. I do agree that the big difference is probably going to be in the games on offer, and not just the games on offer, but what these first-party studios are going to be able to do more specifically with this hardware, right? Like, how are they going to be able to fully take advantage of it? And this is where I do believe Sony does have a slight edge, just based off of everything they've proven this generation with the PS4 and the PS4 Pro, and even just on a pure visual level, not even talking about the overall quality of the games, which we already know most of them are very high, but just on a purely visual level, it really does get me excited, and you can certainly see why a lot of people are not too concerned about which console is going to end up being more powerful. It's really just going to come down to the games. This is something that I think a lot of people are aware of, but nonetheless, it is very interesting to hear that, another supposed insider who has sources and contacts, they are verified, claiming that the PS5 is outperforming the Xbox Series. They do mention that it could change, and I'm sure we will hear the updates later on, but very interesting. Moving on from that, we are going to be talking about Microsoft apparently trying, or at least they did try, to buy Platinum Games. It says, Microsoft tried to buy Bayonetta-developed Platinum Games last year. It has been revealed the two companies have worked together before on Xbox exclusive game Scalebound, yet this game was canceled, much to the disappointment of fans. After Platinum Games teased a sequel to Nintendo Wii U exclusive game The Wonderful 101 on Twitter, Nico Partners analyst Daniel Ahmad reminded people that the developer has just secured an investment from Tencent. This prompted journalist Brad Sams to reveal that he is pretty sure that Microsoft was trying to buy Platinum Games last year. Sams guesses that the deal fell apart or they decided to go another direction. Ahmad responded to say that Platinum Games had been talking to several companies and that Microsoft wasn't the only one in the mix. So this is incredibly interesting because Platinum Games is a studio that a lot of people really, I think, admire, and they definitely are a studio that's prime for the taking, right? Where you think about both Sony and Microsoft acquiring studios and how talented developers are out there. They're independent, and it just seems like Platinum Games is one of these studios that I think would be huge for Microsoft. It would be huge for anybody who would get them. It seems like nobody's going to get them as of right now. But if Microsoft were to have acquired Platinum Games, that would have been huge. And you know that at that point, literally everybody and their mother would have been demanding a Scalebound resurrection. And that, I think, is what just kind of makes this story a little bit funny in a way, because it's like, Microsoft was working with them and it just didn't go well, and it led to the cancellation of Scalebound, which a lot of people were very much looking forward to as a JRPG. And now we're hearing years later that Microsoft apparently tried to acquire them, and that would have been a very interesting turn of events. It makes me wonder what other companies were trying to acquire Platinum Games. Like, I do wonder if Sony was actually part of this. I have to imagine to some extent they were. But yeah, I just had to mention that here briefly, and I'm going to be really interested to see what you guys have to say about that information. But finally here, says that following the news that Sony had registered a trademark for the PlayStation 5 or the PS5 in Switzerland, the company has now nailed down trademarks in the US, UK, New Zealand, and Australia. Obviously, this news doesn't come as a huge surprise, but it's still a surefire sign that things are moving forward. Trademarks can sometimes point towards an imminent announcement or influx of information on a certain product, and with the PS5 reveal event heavily rumored to be happening this month, this could be an indicator that it's not far off. As per usual, though, we'll need to wait for official word from Sony before we get too excited. Now, that is what I wanted to end this video with, and I just had to mention it here briefly because, we have been talking about the PS5 pretty much nonstop on the channel here, and the conversation with the PlayStation 5 is just, people are ready, man. And I'm sure that Sony is well aware of this, but Sony has their plans locked in and in place. And it's gotten to a point where anything that Sony posts on social media, regardless of what it is, people are just talking about the PS5, demanding it. People are already making memes, making fun of Sony, like we're just waiting for them to announce it, and they're just taking their good old time. But as I said before, and I will continue to say, I will try to do my best to fill that void in the meantime with any, relevant or what I believe to be somewhat meaningful news or information about it while we can. And I will be here, obviously, covering everything when it does happen. The last thing I've been hearing is that apparently people are now believing that the PlayStation 5 reveal event is now being moved to March, or not necessarily being moved, but that's where it was planned to happen all this time. It's just all of us are assuming it's going to be February. Now, I don't know if I believe this. I will say that a lot of people are claiming it would be a big mistake for Sony to wait till after GDC, which is happening, I believe, in the second or third week of March, to do the PlayStation 5 event, because at that point it's almost guaranteed that the PS5 will leak out, specifically I think the specs, and there's just going to be a lot of different leaks that happen. So a lot of people are predicting that at the very least we will for sure see Sony reveal the PS5 before GDC happens in March, so in like mid-March. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. I do think it's going to happen soon. Again, look at these trademarks. That's why I'm mentioning it. Sony is gearing up. It's just a matter of being patient, and I certainly believe the wait will be worth it. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. At this point, I'm going to ask you to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think about yet another supposed insider claiming the PS5 is outperforming the Xbox Series and how it could change? And do you actually agree with this person when they say it's really just going to come down to the games? And what do you think about Microsoft apparently trying to buy Platinum Games and it just didn't work out? And how do you feel about these trademarks in the US, the UK, New Zealand, and Australia? Do you think we are going to be getting this event very soon? I will be very interested to see what you guys have to say. Again, leave the video a like if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload. And feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.